Welcome back to another episode of Stories on the Small Screen. And actually, I'm switching it up today and I'm actually recapping Queens. Queens is a new show on ABC. It airs on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. And before we get into it, let's get into the cast first. We have the character Brianna, who was played by rap legend Eve. We have Naomi, who's played by Brandy. We have Jill, played by Notori Newton. We have Valeria, played by Nadine Velasquez. We have Little Muffin, played by Peppy. And we have Eric Jones, played by Taylor. So let's get into this recap. Let's get into this opening scene. The first scene starts with an elaborate music video with Brianna, again played by Eve, rapping, and I believe the song is called Nasty Itch. And basically, she's got this elaborate video. She's in a bikini. She's doing her thing. She has male models. And then they quickly switch to 20 years later and what her life is like now. She has a very busy household. She has 5 kids. She has a husband who's a college professor who's currently out of work, and she looks very overworked. She's talking to her husband in the kitchen. She's making breakfast, it looks like. And her husband comes down and he's like, I'm sorry I slept in. And she's like, don't worry about it. I know you're tired. And he's like, you've been holding this whole operation down. Like I said, because he's a college professor and he's out of work. And she's trying to support him. She's like, no, you're a king and you can't help what happened to you. And she's like, and I'm sorry, he's like, no, you're a queen. And thank you for holding on the ship, holding down this ship. He then starts to say that he's happy to get the results from his CT scan because apparently he's been having headaches and he cannot afford to miss another semester because he wants to be tenure. But apparently these headaches have been bothering him, so hopefully he'll get some answers on that. Of course, Brianna's being the supportive wife. She's like, I got you. We're going to get you back to normal. And of course, they do a little flirting there, and then that ends that scene. Then we go to the scene with Jill, aka The Thrill, I guess, and she's in another elaborate video. She's doing her thing, rapping on looks like a yacht or a boat in an orange outfit. And then they quickly switch over to Jill. She's in a confessional. She's Catholic, and she's getting ready to basically confess her sins to the Catholic priest. She proceeds to tell the priest that she hasn't been having sex with her husband. And the priest starts to talk and she interrupts him and goes, I'm in love with someone else. I've been having an affair. She then continues to talk and she's like, I have something else to share that I haven't told anyone. And he's like, okay. And she starts to tell him and then she goes, I can't. She decides not to tell him and she gets up and walks out and then the scene ends. Then we quickly go to Butter Pecan. Butter Pecan, aka Valeria. She's doing another scene on the yacht. This is 20 years ago, and she's rapping, and then all of a sudden they cut over to her sitting, looks like in a backstage dressing room. She's sitting at the makeup table, and she's saying to the producer that she's upset that they took her off the Van Jones story, and now she has to do these useless stories about a chimpanzee. And so basically she's blaming one of her other co-hosts. So when the producer leaves, she turns around, and then she makes this statement. She's like, first I'm going to get the money, then you get the power, then you get the respect, which is all fine and good if she wasn't holding, looks like she's trying to drug one of her co-hosts. I believe the co-host name is Dana because she believes Dana's making the call to push her in the background. So I can tell already this girl's a hot mess. So then we can move on to, they go to another video scene, and the video scene is Naomi doing her thing played by Brandy. So Brandy is basically on the yacht as well, rapping and singing, and then they also showed the manager E-Rock. The girls are all doing their thing at this video just like before, and then they quickly cut out to Naomi all of a sudden in this quiet, small venue playing the guitar, singing a song with very little people in the audience. It seems kind of dull. It seems kind of depressing. The people in the audience is not really paying attention. She's trying to sing and put her heart into the song, and they're carrying on conversations. And actually, she's being heckled by these 2 people in the audience, and one of them even screams, hey, aren't you one of those nasty bees? I don't know why they said that, but that ticked her off. She stood up, she grabbed the microphone, and she proceeds to rap her lyrics from the Nasty Girl track from 20 years ago. And trust me, they stood there in awe. The whole place got quiet, and then she just throws the microphone down and walks out. Then we get a quick glimpse into the lavish lifestyle the women have been living, from the VMA Awards to Your TV Cribs to 106 in Park to being banned from Saturday Night Live, things like that. It looks like Butter Pecan has perfume a line out. And then they quickly go on to Naomi, played by Brandy, walking off the stage, and the reporter asks her, "Why'd you walk off? Why'd you run off stage? Is this the end of the Nasty Bees?" And then Naomi looks at them and says, "Yes." Now we're in real time 20 years later. A quick scene that's kind of funny is basically Brianna is walking from the grocery store, and then she comes up to her car, and there's a couple making out on her car, kissing, and then she's like, "Excuse me, this is my car." And then the guy goes to his girlfriend and says, "Hey, wait a minute, I know her, she's famous." So Brianna's kind of smiling like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "What happened? TLC didn't get back together?" And she looks and is like, "Wrong, you got me mixed up with someone else." So Brianna gets home. She goes to the bathroom. She takes out the bag, and apparently she has this beautiful lingerie. She's put her hair down. She's getting all fancied up for her husband, because remember at the kitchen scene, he says, "When was the last time we, did the do?" So basically, she's trying to look out good for him. She walks down the hall, and she hears these noises. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And anyways, she trips and falls on one of the kids' toys. So she kind of gives them a heads up that she's there. She runs in the room, and her husband, of all people, yeah, the one that's unemployed, is basically getting it on with one of his students. She's in shock. She stands there, and the crazy thing is the student's like, "I really the woman, the girl, I respect you, I respect you." And Brianna's standing there in awe, and she's just in shock looking at him crazy, which is weird because I don't know if I would have been that calm. But hey, it's not about me. So let's move on with that. But the husband is standing there pleading his case, saying he's sorry, he's an a-hole. And she stands there calmly and goes, "I gave up everything for you." And then the husband standing there with that stupid look on his face, and that ends that scene. Then we move on to Jill in her bathroom, peeing on a stick, looking to make sure if it's her fertility day. She comes out the bathroom, and her husband's like, "Oh, I thought today would be the day." And she's with that fake disappointed voice, "No, it's not today, but it's okay." He's like, "Well, that's okay. It's our journey." Being the ever understanding husband, and she's playing him like a fiddle. And sorry with my bad impression. She holds his hand, gives him a kiss, and then she heads down to the kitchen. In the kitchen, in walks her friend. The friend gives her a few cookies, and then she goes, "Thanks, Aaron loves these." And then to make a long story short, they're more than just friends. This female friend is the one she's in love with, and I believe this is the secret she's keeping. She proceeds to tell the friend that she couldn't tell him that he's a good person and his heart. So the friend goes, "No, you need to be happy and we need to move on." So basically, that was the end of that. But then we fast forward into Naomi going to visit her daughter, which apparently she doesn't see because the mother answers the door and she's like, "Hi, Mom." And the mom's like, "What are you doing here of all days?" And she's like, "Because I want to see my daughter, JoJo." And the mother goes, "After a year." So JoJo comes to the basically door, and JoJo is definitely not happy to see her mother either. JoJo proceeds to tell her mother how she feels, and boy, did she read her mother from one page to the other. She goes on and tells her about her feelings. She goes, basically, "You've been chasing a dream for 20 years, and it's kind of sad. I just remember you as someone just being reckless, chasing this dream, and you don't even know who my father is." Now, that's a mouthful. So apparently all these ladies got some issues from what I'm seeing, and I guess we'll see later on in the episode. They quickly move to a scene with Valeria after that. She goes onto her talk show. The talk show is called The Shade. And Valeria is talking to the producers and maybe the directors, I'm not sure, of the show. And she's pleading her case how the other person, Dana, has been the last originals and she's not good for the show. And basically, they're kind of in hot water because Dana made some comments that weren't good. So basically, Valeria is like, "You know what? Let me handle it. I'm a woman of color. This is what they want to see." So the producers go, "Well, if you can get us out of this mess." And then she's like, "And remember, we've been negotiating my contract." So basically, she's using this as her moment to ask for more money, and she seems happy, and then that just ends that scene. Then we move on to Eve. I'm sorry, not Eve. Brianna is back at home with her family. She basically goes to the car to get some space because she doesn't even want to look in her husband's face. But as she's in the car, she turns on the radio and she hears this song that sounds like theirs. Actually, the song is theirs. You know how it goes. A song from 20 years can be popular again, especially with all these social media platforms. So anyway, she turns up the volume and that's their song, Nasty Girl. Or Nasty Bees, whatever the song is called. So she picks up the phone and she calls Naomi. And she's like, "Turn on your radio. Our song is playing." So the song is playing, and then they move on to the scene with Eric, the manager. He's actually is at nighttime. Valeria is leaving work, and he basically confronts her, not confronts her, walks up to her, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Well, I want to get the band back together. You look good. We haven't talked in a while." And she's like, "Well, that's what happens when you tell someone you love them and break their heart. You don't talk to them." And she's like, "Well, why would I want to get the band back together?" And he's making his case basically of why the band should be back together. We fast forward and we're in LA. So apparently they agreed to at least meet. We have Brianna and then Jill walking in on Brianna. They start hugging and smiling and talking, and then walks in Jill. I'm sorry, Jill and Brianna's already there. Then walks in Naomi. So apparently those three are already on board. They're catching up and they're asking basically Naomi, how's it been going? And she's kind of lying, saying, "Yeah, it's working out. Things are happening. It's picking up for me." But anyways, nevertheless, they're happy to see each other. Then in walks Valeria, and no, Naomi is not having it. Well, the other girls are happy to see her, telling her she looks good. Are you in professional makeup? And she's like, "You know it." Everyone's happy except Naomi, and basically Naomi gives Valeria the what do you call it? The look of death. And those two, she actually lunges at Valeria, trying to fight her. Well, actually, she does get her hand on Valeria, and they tussle a little on the ground. They get broken up and basically spread apart from the other members. Put them in their corners, and then Valeria goes, "So what, are you jealous?" And Naomi goes, "What, of your fake J-Lo looking ass?" So they get pulled apart, and then Jill goes, "You flew all the way here to finish a fight from 20 years ago? I know I've heard it all." So Eric interjects and he's like, "Well, basically, everyone's here and you guys heard the song. The song is getting traction again. And Little Muffin is my artist, and she's closing out the BET Awards, and he wants them to perform with her at the BET Awards." They kind of hesitate, and basically Brianna goes, "I haven't rapped in so long. I have 5 kids." They all looked hesitant at first, but then when he mentions the money, he say that's $50K for all of you guys. That kind of opened their ears a little more. Basically, Brianna's like, "Look, I can use this money. I got a husband out of work and I got 5 kids." And then Jill goes, "I'm Catholic. There's things I can't say anymore." And basically, Brianna's like, "Change it up a little. Say Hail Marys in the morning and you'll be good." So it looks like they all want to do this except for Valeria. Valeria is saying, "No, I'm not going to do this because basically, Naomi, you're stubborn like you were 20 years ago, and you're jealous and thirsty because I have the fame that you've been chasing all this long." So basically, Valeria is definitely not on board with this. She even had the nerve to say she felt guilty because she was the only one to go on to have real success. Now, everybody scrunched up their face, even their manager, Eric, at that one. So Naomi, Brianna, and Jill are talking, and they're just discussing what happened. But actually, Jill called Naomi on her stuff that you had a thing for Eric, you wanted him, Bree landed him, and now you're upset, and you're still upset all these years. The conversation gets a little heated, but then Brianna, the level-headed one here at this table, goes, What are we doing? You know what? I have 5 kids. I'm away from my house. I have 5 kids. I'm away from home. You 2 are my closest friends. Let's enjoy this moment." So we fast forward to a quick scene where Naomi meets Eric at the bar, or I'm not sure if they intentionally met. They start playing catch up, and to make a long story short, Naomi invites him back to her room, and so I guess she wants to rekindle what they had quickly 20 years ago. We move on to Valeria going back to her job, the show called The Shade. And basically the producers are looking at her. She's walking in all happy. And then they just cut that short and was like, "You drugged Dana." And she's basically denying it, act like she didn't do it. And she even threatens to sue them or something like that. And then he shows, basically the producer plays the tape where he sees her switching the mug from her drink to Dana's drink. And basically he's like, "Do you really want to fight this in court?" Now you already know she doesn't. So that smile quickly turned upside down. She knows she has been caught at that point and doesn't stand a chance there. So then we move on to the ladies. They're at the table. It was the next day. They're all kikiing with each other because they say, "Well, we're not performing, but at least we got to see each other. Let's promise to stay in touch." And then here comes Valeria walking in like nothing's happened and is like, "Hey, I'll do the show." So everyone looks at her a little weird, but Naomi, because Naomi's almost a little stalkerish to Valeria, gets a basically a notice saying that the host, she was stepping down. She's like, "Girl, what did you do?" So now they know she got fired. So Valeria goes on the speech, "I know I'm selfish. I mess people over and blah 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 blah." So to make a long story short, they agree to do the show because they are all family. And also, Brianna goes, "Well, we're going to do it our way. We have a mom, a church lady, a washed up musician, and a disgraced talk show host. This should be something else." They all smile and clap hands, and we move on from there. So the next scene, can we talk about this rehearsal, the cipher? This gave me, I wanted them to be in a real group. It gave me, I need to see Eve rapping again. And I need to see Brandy on the stage again. They did their thing. And so that was a nice scene. They were going, Eve was the last one rapping, and she basically killed it. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. It actually reminded me of almost I Want to Be Down. Remember with Queen Latifah, MC Light, Yo-Yo, and Brandy? Yes, Brandy. This Brandy is Naomi, but Brandy for I Want to Be Down. Anyways, it gave me back memories, and yes, I am aging myself, but that is a good memory to have. Go check it out if you have never seen that video. So basically, Brianna is doing her thing, rapping her behind off, and in walks her husband. The cheater, the one who got caught with the student. I'm sorry, and he's asking her, "Can we talk?" And she's like, "They all know what you did, so I'm gonna just say it. I can't get a 1 minute piece from you. Now you come interrupt this." And then he interrupts her and is like, "It's cancer. My brain scan came back, and they say I have cancer." He basically wants her to come back home because he doesn't want to tell the kids alone. So she agrees. She comes back home, and then he's sitting at the dining room table or the kitchen table, and then she comes downstairs, and he's like, how did they take it?" And she's like, "How do you expect? They think their father's gonna die." So he's looking all depressed, and she's basically like, "No, oh no, I'm going to help you fight this. You are going to beat cancer because I'm going to get the satisfaction of you beating cancer and me leaving you behind." This man then has a nerve to say, because he watched Grey's Anatomy, that he thinks the reason why he cheated because he's seen evidence that sometimes when you have a brain tumor that you would do things that you normally wouldn't do. She just stares at him crazy. Now, she gave him a few choice words, even called him the B word, and then she walked out the room. So we move on to a quick scene where Little Muffin actually is in the bathroom, and Jill walks in and she hears Little Muffin crying or sniffling. So Little Muffin comes out and Jill's like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And then basically Little Muffin's like, "Well, do people really want to hear if you're not okay?" And Jill's like, "I do." So basically she's just saying how like everybody's got her hand in their pocket. All these men are making decisions for me. Do they even care about me? And Jill was honest with her and was like, "No." She was like, "These dudes will pick you all apart until there's nothing left." And then she shares a moment with Little Muffin, asking her what's her name. And Little Muffin's like, "You know my name." And Jill was like, "No, your real name." So they share a real moment of bonding there. So Jill, Naomi, and Valeria go to Little Muffin's house because remember Little Muffin invited Jill earlier from in the bathroom. They walk right in and they find her out. She has overdosed. So basically, they call an ambulance, they call 911, and they send her to the hospital. So at the hospital, they're all standing around Little Muffin, and her manager, the jerk he is, comes in and was like, "I know you guys did not put her in a public hospital." And they're like, "She overdosed." And then he's like, "Well, you might have killed her career." Just crazy. Talking how business, I'm pretty sure that the music industry is like that too. Anyways, he's like, "She needs to perform at the BET Awards." And basically Jill's like, "She's not in shape to basically perform." And he's like, "Well, that's going to be breach of contract." This man is crazy. He proceeds to then say some other rude stuff about menopause to them. And before you know it, the church girl Jill went all out and slapped the man down. And actually, he needed to be slapped after that scene. So the ladies are back. I'm not sure where they're at, but they're all sitting down talking. And Naomi is really pissed at Jill because Jill slapped the piss out the man. And now it may have ruined their only opportunity. And Jill was like, "Well, I didn't mean it." And Naomi's like, "No, because basically some of us all don't have what you have." And basically Jill's like, you don't really know what I have. And Naomi sending a few insults to Jill's way. And then basically Jill says, shut up, and stands up. And Naomi stands up and goes, make me. After that, Valeria interrupts and goes, ladies, let's just calm down. After the lady calms down and Valeria says, you know what? During that cipher, it felt good, and I got to take my mask off, and I don't want to put it back on. I had a good time with you ladies. And then Jill is just crying, and she just blurts out, I'm gay. She goes, I'm gay. And she couldn't hide it anymore. She tells them how she feels, and basically all the ladies are supportive. And Valeria goes, that must have felt good. And she like, it does. And she tells them that the woman she's in love with name is Tina, and she feels like she can be herself with Tina. So they all really support her on that. The ladies all stand up and they make amends. They're like, we don't need a crowd. We don't need a stage. We need each other. So basically they're keeping their friendship first. In walks Eric through the door, and behind him walks Little Muffin. She wants to thank them for their concern, and she says she never had anyone stand up for her, and she says, I have to perform, but I'm not going on that stage without you. So basically the performance is back on. So then we fast forward to the end, and the BET Awards are here. And can we say the ladies killed it? And can we talk about how they all look so good? And can we talk about Brianna, aka Eve, in that outfit? She was killing it in that outfit. She looked good. Basically, all the ladies looked good. They came on, they started rapping, doing their thing. The crowd loved it. It was amazing to watch. At the end of the performance, the girls all come together. They're like, you did it, Jill. They're smiling and crying and laughing. The crowd's cheering. And basically, it was a successful performance. So then we fast forward 6 months, and they're all standing there looking at this huge billboard. The billboard basically is an announcement for a world tour, the tour of Little Muffin and the Queens. So they're all standing there. They're excited. And basically, Brianna says, and she switched it up a little. So a mom, a washed up musician, a disgraced talk show host, a lesbian church lady, and a young rapper are all going on tour. Really? And then they look at each other, and basically Naomi says, yes. They all look at each other again and smile, and basically that was the end of the episode. So that's all I have for you guys. I know this was a little bit of a long one, but didn't want to miss out any good scenes. Tell me what you think. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to watch it to support the ladies, support Eve, support Notori Newton, support, of course, Brandy the legend. And it turned out really good. I'm excited for episode 2. And let me know what you think. You know I always rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. I gave this one a 9. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to next week. So let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts on this one. What'd you rate it? Would you watch it again? I'm watching again. So until next time, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching this. Please hit the like button again. Please comment and also subscribe. When you subscribe, that helps my channel grow. Again, I appreciate it and thank you very much.